Hi everyone, my name is Linda Monja Kadenge. I come from Nairobi, Kenya, and welcome to Book Lovers. What do I do? I recently finished my undergraduate in the University of Nairobi. I think I know I'm in between looking for things to do, but yes, that's basically me. What I think for me, I really read because it's actually evolved over time. When I was younger, I used to read so I can just be in a different world because I grew up in a very strict family, so I wasn't really allowed to go out and play. I was in my mom, so that that I don't find an excuse to want to go out and play. She used to really buy me very many books, and so for me that was like my sort of entertainment. And then also we used to have this very strict house help. Now I actually think she's my nanny because she brought me up since I was very small, so she used to have a lot of authority, and she never used to let me watch the TV. So basically reading for me became like my sort of entertainment. I just go to a different world and just explore all these fictions characters. Then with time, reading became something that I do so I can gain perspective, because you know how they always say that your books are your treasures. It can sound like a cliche statement, but then I think it's really true, because I realize that there are so many perspectives in this world, and most of the times we tend to just dwell on this one perspective, and then that influences how we perceive information. But then when you read, you realize that there's so many ways of looking at things, and so that's one of the reasons. Like I think that's the main reason why I read nowadays. Just getting perspective, knowing things. Because I really like knowing things. I really like knowing things, and then you see books. It's like you get to experience the person and where they are at just through their words. It's really really amazing. So how did I start reading? Well, like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't allowed to go play when I was young. So I reading was basically the only thing I could do. So I used to have a lot of comic books. I used to have a lot of these books with pictures. Kwanza hata ilianza na it started with Super Strikers. You remember Super Strikers? That's for Shakes McKenna. So I really, really used to wait for the Sunday. I think it was the Saturday Nation. I think it was a Saturday Nation. So I really, really used to wait for it because they used to insert the Super Strikers comic inside. Then it went on to some other Tintin. So that's how I started reading. My mom also used to tell me a lot of stories. Like she used to give me stories of the ogre, the story of the Wanjiko and the ogre, how there was like there was a village party, and then Wanjiko followed the ogre, and a handsome man who now like an ogre had manifested himself in the form of a handsome man, and Wanjiko decided to follow the ogre, and then she was the only one who was not seeing that the ogre had a mouse hapa hivi nyuma eating flies, so she ended up being the only one, and then she went, long story short, she wanted to be eaten. She was being fattened. Then some men came to rescue her. So you see, so from those stories, of course, I started developing a lot of interest, especially in African literature. Like I really used to love African literature when I was young. So like our school, it started its library when I was in class 5. Let me tell you, my free time, I didn't even like going to play. My free time was spent in that library. As in, I think even the teachers just knew. And I was always going to the African collections, the African books section. Okay, it wasn't really at a big library, but yeah, I think it was just organized into sections. Then I also really used to like reading the Bible. Not because at this really I wanted to, religious, but I really liked the stories, especially in the Old Testament. I really, really liked the stories. So for me, I really used to, because actually that was before they started the library. So the Bible had interesting stories for me. So I used to read it like a novel. In high school, so that's primary school. In high school, yeah, I think high school reading becomes like a thing for everyone. They were mostly fictional books. These books about vampires, Vampire Diaries, Twilight, and then books for Daniel Steele circulating. So, you see, we used to have like preps on Saturday. Now, me, my prep time, Saturday, it used to be a day for me to chill. I used to feel like by the day I am not revising. I used to take a novel every Saturday and read from morning to usiku hadi nimalize. Because, I mean, there's nothing else to do. So, with that, I think in high school my reading really, really increased. But then it went down when I went to university. I don't know whether it's the workload. I don't know what happened, or maybe I'm at home, other sources of entertainment. But so I did one of the majors that I did a double major. One of the majors that I did was political science. Now, political science it requires you to, okay, it's very interesting, and it also really opens your eyes to a lot of perspectives. So there's a lot of, some bit of philosophy, and I became very, very interested in this thing. So I think that's when because Kitambo used to read, mostly fictional and probably African fiction, but then I really now switched to reading books on philosophy, because I really love books written by, like these old books, Plato, The Prince. Um, there's another one I was reading, Republic. I really, really love those books. So, and also now autobiographies and biographies, just getting to understand these great people, their mind, like sort of getting into their mind. So, yeah, I think that's the evolution of my reading. I'm not sure but yeah, I would say that's the evolution of my reading. My favorite genre. Well, like I mentioned, I really love fiction, science fiction especially. Um, this, but not the mystic ones, not the Vampire Diaries kinds, real vampires and werewolves. No, I really like books that talk about space expeditions. So another thing about me is I really also my other major was geography, and one of the reasons I did geography is because I was really awed by basically space, and what's out there, the planet. Like I remember in class 4, when I was in class 4, I was really, really looking forward to that topic, yeah, planets. I was really, really looking forward. And then I remember now that day to get that topic, and I'm so excited. I'm just thinking, wow, today's the day we're going to learn about planets. And then I was so disappointed at the way the teacher handled, because he's just like, okay, so Venus has one moon. Yes, it is the first planet closest to the sun. Wait, which one is it? Mercury, Venus. It's Mercury. Mercury is the closest to the sun, and then we move on to the next planet, Earth. Is where we leave Mars. As in, it wasn't detailed at all, and I was just like, wow, that is quite disappointing. So consequently now, I used to, like, because of my interest, I really used to read these books about, most of the books and movies about how, there's an asteroid falling, and how human beings have to, choose some people to go and destroy the asteroid so it doesn't come and destroy Earth. And most times one person has to die, because there has to be that sacrificial one person who decides to. There was always a malfunction with that rocket in every storyline. So there's always that one person who had to go and anchor the rocket to the asteroid and die, so the asteroid doesn't come to Earth. Or um, how these people are in space, and then they end up just going to this new planet with aliens, and these aliens, most of them are not really human-like. But yeah, so they encounter these aliens and this new world, and they didn't get a chance to go back to their family, so they have to make the planet that they've landed in habitable, so to speak. So yeah, so I really, really loved science fiction. That was also greatly contributed by my mom. My mom is a big fan of, like, the Matrix, so it was really contributed by that. Then, like I said, as time went by, I now really like autobiographies and biographies. I really, really like them. And books on philosophy. I think I don't really get that much joy from reading the science fiction as I did before, especially now with this, like, the with the my new interest in autobiographies and biographies and, yeah, philosophy books. So that's my genre. Favorite author. I feel like, do I really have a, well, I think how my mind works is each his own. I feel like every author has something different to offer. Every author has a different perspective to offer, and I appreciate it. But if I have to, like, narrow down to just one author, I think, but this is in the fictional sector. Dan Brown. I like the Da Vinci Code series. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I find it very, very interesting. I think my favorite series in the Dan Brown Da Vinci Code is Inferno. For people watching, you should check it out if you haven't checked it out. It's interesting. It's about, just sneak peek summary. It's about this. So Da Vinci Code is basically a code. It's a code that is being guarded by people. Very many people end up dying because they're trying to protect this code. But eventually they realized that this code was actually a secret to some people want to, well, in Inferno, some people want to sort of reduce the population of the earth because they're thinking that human beings are the ones who are going to destroy the earth. So now they want to basically do some mass killing. And I'm forgetting the main character in the Da Vinci Code series. But so basically the whole book is him, trying to stop these people. It's like an elite group of some sort stemming from the church. It's a very interesting book. Yes. Then my favorite book is it's called When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. Why do I like this book? First of all, this book is an autobiography, but then it becomes a biography. So what happens is this doctor, he's he's a he's a very successful resident doctor. He's a surgeon. I think he's a neurosurgeon, and he's very competent in his work. He's like the top in his field. And he gets diagnosed with lung cancer stage 4. And so he basically, and at that point, before he did medicine, I think he used to do literature. And so he always had an interest in writing and answering some philosophical questions. And I think when he got sick, because now you see he couldn't go to work, he wanted to sort of just document what he's going through. And so he started writing. So you can see him going back to his formative years. You can see him basically just debating some very critical life questions that he previously believed in. So like among the things that he does, he questions the aspect of, as a doctor, what is the line between a doctor and a patient? Because you see, he was previously a doctor, and so he used to go to his patients and tell them, no, so this is what is happening, you have lung cancer. So he was asking, should doctors have sort of sympathy on their patient? Should you treat your patient as just a patient, or should you treat your patient as a human being with emotions and feelings? And you just, because how doctors sometimes they don't want to get their feelings attached because it will make their job. I mean, can you imagine if you have your feelings attached with every patient? I think you'd be really heartbroken. So he began to question that, and also how breath, like how it became air. Because I mean, something so significant. Well, how I personally interpreted it was when something so significant becomes kind of meaningless. Like how you can hold life so close and then you realize that higher, it's actually slipping from the palm of my hands. So it's a very, very interesting book. And he dies along the way. So the wife is the one who finishes the last chapter is written by the wife. It's very, very interesting. So yes, so that's my favorite read so far. I don't think I've read any book that beats that so far. I would prefer hard copy books, but I also don't have a problem with ebooks. There's a way you can adjust there's the eye comfort setting in your phone. So as long as, I mean, it's not really hurting my eyes, I really don't mind ebooks. But I don't like audiobooks at all. I've never really tried audiobooks. I don't think I would try audiobooks. I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, I do not like the audiobooks. Do I have like a particular reading schedule? No. Okay. Well, if I'm reading, like if there's a book I'm intentional about finishing, what I do is I read it mostly at night. I like reading at night before sleeping because it's peaceful, it's silent. So yeah, I would read at night. I do journal. I definitely journal. Previously embracing writing on like some blogs. So that's heavily, of course, influenced by my reading culture. I am not a member of a book club. So if you're watching this and you would think that you'd suggest, or if whatever you could have a book club for me to join, I would I would be open to that. No, I do not have reading days. But like the times when you've gone out, especially any single time I'm on the road for long travels, or my shags, or just like we've gone somewhere to just chill, I always have to have a book with me because you just the cast settings, being in a different environment, like it's very, very relaxing. So I would read also in those moments. Just yes, I have this one friend whom, yes, I steal books from him quite severally. But it's not an exchange. I don't always take the books from him. I also get like most of my books, online, or I could go to textbook center or any book center, like within Nairobi, or basically just around. Or sometimes I've actually found really, really good. You see these books that are sold 100 bob per streets. I've actually found really, really good novels from there. Like this, because this one, that book was actually really, really nice. It's called The Time Traveler's Wife. Ah, such a good book. And it was 100 bob. I'm like, wow, thank you. Please let's continue like that. I think for book lovers, one thing I would say is read a book that you're interested in. I think that's one thing I'm learning, because most times that I fell back on reading is when I'm reading a book that I'm really not feeling it per se. Maybe I don't even know why I read them. But yeah, I think it would be good if you just read something that you're really interested in, because that will give you psych to read and be open to what the author is trying to tell you. So there's that. And also one thing that I also say, like, to book lovers, is please don't stop reading. Like hata kama you have like a busy schedule, like reading, I think if you love books keep you very, like, they keep the fire burning, so to speak. They I don't know, books are just, I don't think you can replace the feeling of reading a book with anything else, in all honesty. So even though you're busy, at least try, at kama it's one book, I guess. Is one book a month a bit too little? I do not know. But just read as frequently as you can, because reading, you cannot get the benefits of reading, I don't think, can be gotten from anything else. In terms of reading habits, I think they really just apply to the individual. So I wouldn't tell you to read at this time, read at but I guess it's to stay true to your interest, of books, the genres, and yeah, explore as well. Explore. I think every book has something different to tell you. So I guess be open also to different types of genres as well. Yes, that's the reading tip I would tell to people. Thank you so much for watching. Also, thank you, Wacera, for hosting me. Please like, share, and subscribe her channel. She's doing such a good job. And yes, if you're not a book lover, if you read her series, you'll end up liking books. So subscribe.